For more than a century, one event has brought the world together, a celebration of human achievement, a symbol of peace, a spectacle of unity watched by billions. But what if I told you that for the cities that host this grand spectacle, the Games often leave behind a legacy not of glory, but of debt, decay, and displacement? What if the greatest prize in sports is, in fact, a curse? Studies show that since 1960, virtually every Olympic Games has gone massively over budget, with an average cost overrun of 172%. For many host cities, it's a gamble they almost never win. Join me as we dive deep behind the five rings to uncover the hidden secrets of the Olympic Games and ask a difficult question: is the dream of hosting the Olympics worth the price? It all begins with a dream, the dream of becoming an Olympic city. The process is a glamorous, high-stakes international competition where cities spend millions of dollars just to bid for the privilege of spending billions. They are selling a vision, a story of urban renewal, global prestige, and economic prosperity. But to win, cities are often pushed into a bidding war, making ever grander promises of state-of-the-art facilities and flawless infrastructure. The moment a city wins, the clock starts on a frantic 7-year construction marathon. Roads, airports, and public transport must be built or upgraded. An Olympic village must be constructed. And then there are the stadiums. These are not just arenas, they are architectural marvels, designed to dazzle a global audience. But their specialized nature and immense size often render them useless after the 16 days of competition are over. They become white elephants. Perhaps the most cautionary tale is Montreal 1976. The mayor famously declared the Games could no more have a deficit than a man could have a baby. The final bill was 13 times the original budget, leaving the city with a $1.5 billion debt that took 30 years to pay off. More recently, the 2004 Athens Games, meant to be a triumphant homecoming, cost nearly €9 billion and contributed significantly to the Greek debt crisis that would cripple the nation just a few years later. The financial cost is staggering, but the price of the Games is also paid in human and environmental terms. To clear the way for massive Olympic parks and infrastructure, people are often moved. For the 2008 Beijing Olympics, it's estimated that over 1.5 million people were displaced. Families who had lived in their neighborhoods for generations were forcibly relocated, often to distant suburbs with little compensation. In Rio de Janeiro for the 2016 Games, entire favela communities were erased to make way for new highways and venues, sparking widespread protests against what many saw as a land grab disguised as urban development. Beyond the human cost, there is the environmental toll. Building a temporary city for a 2-week event has a colossal carbon footprint, and sometimes the environmental promises made during the bidding process are the first to be broken. The 2014 Winter Olympics in Sochi, Russia, were the most expensive in history, costing over $50 billion. To build the ski resorts, construction cut through a national park, damaging pristine forest ecosystems and watersheds in a region known as the Russian Riviera. And then there is the question of human rights. The Olympics have often been awarded to authoritarian regimes who use the Games as a global PR exercise to sports wash their image, distracting from human rights abuses. The 1936 Berlin Games were a propaganda masterpiece for Nazi Germany. More recently, the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics faced international boycotts over China's treatment of the Uyghur population, forcing athletes and sponsors into an uncomfortable moral position. So if hosting is so often a financial, social, and ethical disaster, why do cities still line up to do it? The answer lies in the intangible allure of the Olympic effect. It's a gamble on a decade of construction jobs, a 2-week global tourism advertisement, and a permanent place on the world stage. For some, like Barcelona '92, the gamble pays off, successfully rebranding a city. For most, it does not. At the center of this system is the International Olympic Committee, or IOC, A powerful non-governmental organization, the IOC profits immensely from the Games, their broadcasting rights and corporate sponsorships, while bearing almost none of the financial risk, which is offloaded onto the host city's taxpayers. For decades, the bidding process was also plagued by corruption, culminating in the Salt Lake City 2002 scandal, where IOC members were found to have accepted bribes in exchange for their votes. Facing a crisis of legitimacy, with fewer and fewer democratic cities willing to bid, the IOC was forced to act. They introduced a series of reforms known as Agenda 2020 and the New Norm. The idea is to make hosting more flexible, sustainable, and affordable. Cities are now encouraged to use existing or temporary venues, to spread events across regions, and to align the Games with their long-term development goals rather than the other way around. The 2028 Los Angeles Games will be a key test, relying almost entirely on existing venues, and the 2032 Games were awarded to Brisbane, Australia, under a new, more collaborative dialogue process designed to prevent costly bidding wars. Other more radical ideas are also debated. Should the Olympics have a permanent home, perhaps in Greece, to eliminate the host city curse entirely? Or could a rotating cast of permanent host cities on different continents share the burden? The future of the Olympic Games hangs in the balance. The tension between its lofty ideals and the often brutal reality of its execution has reached a breaking point. Can the reforms of the new norm truly create a more sustainable and ethical model? Or is the very concept of a single city hosting a global mega event fundamentally flawed in the 21st century? The dream of the Olympics, of a world united in peaceful competition, is a powerful one. It's a dream worth fighting for, but to save it, we must be willing to confront the hidden costs, to demand accountability, and to fundamentally rethink what it means to host the world. What do you think is the future of the Olympic Games? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And for more deep dives into the hidden side of our world, be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.